when I talked to Ric Flair, I don't know where I talked to Ric Flair. It must have been 6, 7 years ago when I had him on the podcast. And we had a lot of different conversations. Ric Flair's energy to me is different than yours, right? Rick is bragging about, the partying. And Wendy's sitting right there and he's telling all these stories. I mean, 5,000 women and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Were you the party guy?
No.
You didn't. You don't give me the party vibes.
No.
Yeah, that wasn't you.
No, I was a business guy, brother.
You were.
Yeah.
I got it. So it wasn't.
Yeah.
So for you, were you the one that had the lifestyle and the nice cars and a nice jewelry and stuff like that, or that wasn't?
Well, anything I've got is pretty much given to me. If the T-shirt fits, I'll wear it. I don't. I am addicted to cars. Yeah.
You are addicted to cars.
I got a problem. Big problem. Yeah.
Favorite car you ever bought, or favorite car you own right now?
I'm a Mopar guy, Dodge guy.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm addicted. I got a problem.
Really? So you go to DA meetings?
I got a big problem with cars. Yeah.
Dodge Anonymous, right?
Yeah.
Did you say Viper? What car did you say?
I've had probably 10 Vipers. I just bought a couple more cars. There's the old one. Yeah, I gave that one. I auctioned that one off at Meekum for charity. Yeah, there's an old 68. Ooh, that's a 71 446 pack Cuda. That's one of 8. That car's worth a lot of money right there. Ooh, there's a 69 Roadrunner. I've got 2 of them.
How many cars?
I had two black Roadrunners in high school. That's why I bought those cars.
When you were making 300.
See that one, the red one with the black stripes?
Go back.
That was my date car in high school.
Is that the actual car?
No, but I had to buy it because it's the exact same car.
Got it.
Had white bucket seats. This car's gorgeous inside, and that was my date car when I finally got a girlfriend.
So let me ask you, when you told the story earlier on with your father, well, it says 17 years old, he kicked you out, and whatever the relation, when you said you went, did you guys, the relationship when he took off, did your dad come up and say, I had no idea this is what you were up to? Was there that moment with you and your father that he was proud of you?
Oh, yeah. It was bad because, playing music and playing in a bar when you're in high school is not conducive, to someone that's trying to get through high school. So it wasn't part of his plan. He wanted me to do better than him, and for me to be playing music in a bar, it really upset him, So it didn't work out real well. And then, I ended up going to the University of South Florida, and I had a major in finance and management and a minor in music. And then
finance and management.
Yeah. And then when I quit the University of South Florida after about 3 years to go on the road with a band called the Jeannie Conroy Show, it was a show band with horns and did all the funky syncopated music, all the Tower Power stuff and all that stuff. That really upset him when I quit college to go play music again. And we just didn't really hit it off that well. And then when I started to get in the wrestling business, I would come by his house during the day because he had this driveway that he poured with asphalt, and I would do what we call jumping squats. And I did so many jumping squats, I'd do thousands of them a day that I actually tore his driveway up with my tennis shoes. This black asphalt driveway, I just destroyed the driveway. I'd do so many jumping squats all day when he was at work. And so he wasn't real happy about me getting in the wrestling business, He was not happy at all. And then I started in 77, and then in 1984, I flew my mother and my father up to Madison Square Garden when I wrestled the Iron Sheik.
First time they ever saw you?
Mm-hmm.
First time they ever saw you?
First time they ever saw me wrestle. And they flew up there, and there's pictures. There they are in the dressing room the night I won the belt. And that night he told me how proud of me he was, and I made the right decision. Yeah. Yeah, so that was a big night for me to have him there with my mom.
What did it feel like when he said it to you? Because the vibes it is that that was tough, right? So what feeling did he give you when you heard it?
It was great for him to tell me, that he was really proud of me. That night was a great night, but probably the best day of my life was when my father was on his deathbed, and we hadn't really had much of a relationship then, but when he told me he was proud of me, it made me feel like $1 million, But then the greatest day of my life was when he was on his deathbed and he accepted Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior. And probably 3 minutes before he died, because he was, don't worry, Terry, it's all Mother Nature, which he's kind of right, but when he finally said those words to me, he goes, I just want to let you know how much I love you. I went, whoa, because I hadn't heard that ever since I was in high school.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was the greatest day of my life.
And when was that? What was that? How long ago was that?
Oh my gosh, my dad passed. You could look it up. Peter Balea. I can't even remember the year now. Probably, oh my gosh, over 20 years ago.
December 2001. December 18th, 2001.
Yeah. 23 years ago.
Yeah, but that was probably the greatest day of my life because, it was really, really cool.
Were you a Christian at the time?
Yes, I was.
And
yes.
Did you ask him to accept Jesus Christ as a Savior?
For years I had, but I accepted Christ as my Savior when I was 14 years old. But I derailed, of course, playing music and
we all do.
Wrestling, and then I came back to my faith eventually when I realized it was the only truth there was. So that was a huge day for me. So it was a miracle. It was great.
Wow. Is your mom still around? Your mom still?
No, she passed. She passed.
After him?
Yes. Yes.
Well, sorry to hear, man, but the fact that that's the story, that is powerful.
Yeah. It was a great day.
Wow.
And I don't really share the story with anybody. I'm going to tell you. The weirdest thing was, how you shake hands like this?
Mm-hmm.
I was shaking. I had his hand like this. My chest was against his chest. His face was right here. And when he said, "Hey, I love you, Terry," I said, "I love you too, Dad." And he went, about 2 minutes later, he went, and when he took that breath, his face looked just like yours. Tan, nice looking face. As soon as he took that breath and he breathed out, his face turned instantly gray when I looked at him. And all of a sudden, I'm leaning and looking at his face and my chest on his chest. And I went, ah! I jumped back. I felt something come out of his body. And when it hit me, I don't know if it went in me or through me, but there's something more than just this meat suit, brother. You could call it energy, you could call it spirit, you could call it your soul or whatever it is. I felt it push me back. My chest was against his chest, and when he took that last breath, it was about a second later. It was like I put my finger in an electrical socket. It knocked me backwards. And so at that moment, I realized that there's much more to this than just that meat suit you're walking around in. And it was a huge wake-up call for me.
Was it a thing that it went from faith to being real? Like there is something there.
Oh yeah.
Conviction went to.
It changed me, bam, on the spot, instantly.
How did that influence you on the way you lived your life after December 18th of 01? When that happened to you?
It changed a lot of things. I started getting better and better and better, and it was a gradual change for me to get correct. I would deal with all these humanistic problems, and I would fight it, and I'd push, and I'd struggle and scratch and claw, and then I would surrender and go back to center. And then, if I had some really crazy problem, like with the IRS or with my wife or my kids, I'd try to deal with it instead of just lamenting on it and driving me crazy. I realized the sooner I'd surrender and let it go, and as soon as I'd bracket it and go back to center and all is well and he's in total control, then I was fine. So I got better and better and better. But that was kind of like the moment that made me really wake up and go, you know what? There's a lot more here than just this, and this show and you. And I mean, there's so much more to this than just this short little teeny run, like I would say. The short little run we have here is just a wisp compared to what, the real deal is.
Yeah, that's interesting because when you go through it at a time like this, especially with like your pops, and you hear the "I love you" and you haven't heard that, and I'm proud of you, and I'm accepting Jesus Christ. I mean, that's got to be a moment you go through that changes the way you view life. By the way, let me ask you this question. There's a lot of young guys that are getting into wrestling today. Logan Paul, you're seeing what he's doing, right? He's got all this stuff. Acrobatic. I can't believe how talented the guy is when you're seeing the stuff that he's doing. I'm sure you can write a book on fame, right? How do you, how do you break down fame? What do people not know about fame, that the good, the bad, the ugly part of fame and your relationship with it?
Well, it's very fleeting. It only lasts, it's temporary. It's like everything else in this life. It's just temporary. And some people strive for fame, and you're very disappointed sometimes when you get there because it's not what you think it is. I kind of like moved away from fame and started using the word greatness, because I want to be great at everything I do. We just my new wife Sky, who I love to death, that's a believer, she sometimes not that she didn't understand me, but sometimes, like with homeless people, I see homeless people, I don't give them $20. I don't want to talk about the lady I was married to before, but sometimes if I had a wad of hundreds in my wallet, I'd take them out and just give them to them. It's just because I love seeing people do good, and we had a situation actually yesterday where her sister and her husband were, in a little weird situation. In we got flooded and they lost a car, and they only had another car that I would call a beater, and they both had, jobs and a kid, and they couldn't get around. So my wife was talking to me about, what should we do? They don't have money for a down payment. I said, just go buy them another car. Just go buy them another car. So Sky went out and did that yesterday. Her sister was so grateful. They didn't have money for a down payment, didn't know how they were going to do the financing. It just relieved so much stress. And I've said this so many times that I don't even know if it's cool to say it, but if I was a billionaire right now, I could help millions of people, And so when I see how Trump helps people, it's really amazing. Like, I would like to grow up and be like him, So it's just it's very important to me, that people understand who he is.
You're going to think I'm crazy when I tell you this, but the last 13 and a half years, I've been working on my first fiction book to write, ever. Fiction book to write. And while I finished this book, a year ago, I got the strangest phone call about one of the characters in the book where the guy wanted to meet with me, and he read the book. And afterwards, it's like, wait a minute, am I the villain in the book? This is a story about a character named Asher, who is half Armenian, half Assyrian, whose father was involved in the Iranian Revolution, linked to Savak, working with the Shah, that they escape, and he gets recruited to a secret society. Well, when you go to the secret society, it's been around for a couple thousand years. They've developed some of the craziest leaders of all time, and they test you. There's unique tests that they have at the society where they test to see your emotional mental toughness. One of the tests that they have is very rigorous. It's purely mental. Of course, there's a physical one, but one is mental and emotional. If you're Armenian, if you're Syrian, if you're Persian, this is a book you're going to be reading and saying, holy moly, this is the kind of stuff you talk about in here? Yes. If you're somebody that's fascinated by history, this is a book for you. Characters. There's a technology that this society, secret society, builds where you go into a vault. I won't spoil it for you. When you go down, they have a technology where you get to sit down and watch and have a 3-4 hour conversation with Tupac. You can set up a debate between Karl Marx and Ayn Rand. Karl Marx is in the book, who wrote Communist Manifesto. Ayn Rand, who wrote Atlas Shrugged, is in the book. Marilyn Monroe explains the concept of seduction and sex in the book. When you read the book, it's about development of the next leaders in the world and how they do it and how they've been doing it for many years. And it's also about how to prevent the end of civilization and how this organization goes about doing it. So, I've never written a parenting book before, but if I ever wrote a parenting book, this is the closest thing to it because it's all mindset, a lot of crazy stories. Again, 13 and a half years. Trust me, I told myself I will not publish this book until I sell my insurance company and I'm fully disconnected from it, where it's no longer my responsibility 100%. When you read this, if you're a creative person, if you like fiction books, if you enjoyed Atlas Shrugged, or if you enjoy Divergent, if you like books like that, I think you're going to enjoy reading this book. It's the creative side. Business books is very easy. Here's how you do it. Here's how this how it works. This is very creative. If you haven't placed the order yet, now you can order it on Simon & Schuster, Amazon. I'm going to put the link up below somewhere here, maybe even in my profile. Go order the book and read it. I've never written a book where I can't wait to read your reviews to see what you think about this book. So I'm going on this wild journey, and we have some plans with this book here. If you support the things that I work on, I would appreciate you going and reading the book, order the book on Amazon, and then post a review.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.